Good morning, everybody. MG here, MGCovers, bringing you a brand new handicapping video. We're going to do a baseball sports betting preview for May the 9th. Happy Mother's Day to all the great mothers out there. We'll get into the preview. A couple things I want to address. Number one, personally, yes, I did shave my head. I'm in perfect health. Still sort of struggling with this mentally and emotionally because it's completely different for me. But it is what it is, so go ahead and address that. If this is your first time watching one of my videos, you want to learn about sports betting, it's a great channel to subscribe to. There's a lot of channels out there. I give you a lot of content for free just by subscribing. Have a ton of handicapping articles, videos, etc. So if you subscribe, you get a ton of content that way. If you want to follow me on all of the social media outlets, I am MGCovers, covers spelled with a Z. Give out a lot of daily content on Instagram on my storyline. And you can follow me on Twitter as well. So without any further ado, let's dive right into this. I want to talk about Major League Baseball. This is a very difficult season to handicap. Very difficult. Obviously, we've just to quickly review, Major League Baseball has changed baseballs because you saw an enormous amount of home runs hit the last couple years, and it has worked. Home runs are down, strikeouts are up. Pitching is more of a factor now, and so it's just different. So everybody's kind of, figuring this out. Not really many people are crushing it as far as units go, having success. They're where I am personally, right at down 0.8 units, I think. So we're down less than a unit. So basically even. So we went into the positive a couple days ago. I think had a losing day 2 days ago, broke even last night. So that's where we are. So basically even. So I'm going to do a lot more of these videos, some previews, just to give you some thoughts to help you with your handicapping. And another thing that I noticed last night, originally, if you go back to some previous videos, I talked about the majority of games, probably 85 to 90% of the games were decided at the 6th inning mark. So whatever team was winning or tied at the 6th inning mark went on to win. That has changed a little bit. I've noticed that trend this week, and here's why. We're 30 days deep into the season now. You have a lot of teams have gone through bullpens. Those bullpens are not as fresh as they were at the start of the season. You're seeing a lot of teams blow some leads. Teams, that Seattle-Texas game last night went back and forth. I think Seattle was up to 7th, then Texas, then back to Seattle, then of course Texas won it. We had Texas. One game we lost. Chicago Cubs went to the 9th inning with a 3-0 lead. We had them on the money line at plus 144. Gave up 2 runs. They still won. And while I'm on that, I don't think the money line is a really good play this year. And the reason being, as I've just stated, you have pitching is a lot better now. So that's going to bring scoring down. Teams can't hit the home run ball as much, so the likelihood, it's just going to make it more difficult for teams to win by 2. And the general rule is when a team wins in Major League Baseball, 70% of the time they win by 2 runs, and that's kind of how I calculate my run line. But I think moving forward for me, I'm going to stay away from those run lines and focus strictly on the money lines. So, and then a second thing before we dive into this, there was 2 ways I was handicapping Major League Baseball. I was using what we call a criterion-based model. It was successful. In fact, I'll pull this up right now, this tracker here. You can see here, let me scroll down here. And my criterion-based model was just that if a team met a certain criteria, we played mostly dogs, and I tracked it all the way until May 3rd. It was hitting about 40%, but we were playing, again, all dogs. It was up 3.31 units. So it was successful, obviously, but I think I don't think it would get me to my goal, which would be at least 10 units for Major League Baseball. And then so after that, I focused on this past week, really focused hard on line movement, moving and making sure I was playing games that were moving in the direction of the line movement. However, at the end of the day, I still think it comes back to just getting back to the basics, which is looking at my stat model, which I believe is really good, then identifying value, and then factoring everything else situationally like I've done in all other sports, which means Is it team public? Is it non-public? Where's the line moving? Situational angles. Is this team in good form? And one thing else I'm going to start factoring situationally is the bullpen. What does the bullpen look like? And I'm going to show you a really good tip today on how you can sort of factor in bullpen. So anyway, let's dive into it, guys. First line, Washington, New York Yankees. We have Washington. Our line is plus 113. We have Yankees at minus 33. Real quick, we have a hitting power ranking, which is basically represents their percentage chances of winning. And we have a starting pitching power ranking as well. We combine these, divide by 2, and that gives us the actual money line for that game. So we have Yankees favored here. So let's take a look at the line movement. We'll focus on Pinnacle book here. And you can see here, this is the opening line. It's very important. So we have Yankees minus 146. Right now it's at 143. So that line movement from where it is now to opening favors Washington slightly. And what you want to look at, too, the latest line movement, of course, it opened at 146, shot way up to, you can see here early this morning, it was at 160. So that line has come down considerably in favor of Washington there. And the most important line movement is the most recent line movement. So this particular game, I mean, the way I would handicap this, just off the top of my head, I mean, Washington appears to be the better team via the power rankings. You are getting some value. You can get Washington at, 132. Our line is 113. Pitching advantage for the Yankees there. More than likely, this game's probably going to be a pass for me. Okay, moving along, Boston minus 117, Baltimore 108. Fairly even hitting, a little bit of advantage there for Boston. So we look at the line, and I'm sure Boston's going to be heavy favorites here. Well, not too heavy. Look at the Pinnacle book, 130. Boston opened up at plus 144. Now it's 131. So, again, this line movement favors Baltimore. Line opening at 133 all the way down to 121. You look at the latest line movement, very similar to that game we just looked at. Looks like it peaked out at about... 133, and now it's constantly moved down, so that would favor Baltimore there. All the way down to, 119, 118, shot up just a little bit here at 11:05. I'm recording this video. It's 11:10 Eastern. So one advantage, too, though, you look at here, Boston is the non-public team there, but again, at minus 132. Again, sort of a difficult call there. On that one, not a lot of value via my power rankings. More than likely would be a pass. All right, let's take a look at, I want to show you how I factor the bullpens as well, and we'll probably do that in this game here. Minnesota, Detroit. Minnesota, really good hitting team, 58 on the power rankings versus Detroit, which is the worst hitting team via my power rankings in the last 10 games. So my line is basically even, 100 and plus 104. Definitely a pitching advantage for Detroit. But they cannot hit the ball. So let's dive over to see what's happening on the money line. You can see here, it looks like majority of people are on Minnesota. Yep. And that line opened Minnesota minus 140. It's gone all the way up to minus 163. The line movement favors Minnesota here. So we'll see what happens with that. And I'll show you looking at how to look at bullpens. I'm at, if you're curious where I'm at covers.com. Really good site for statistics for sports betting. And you scroll down, you click on bullpen here. And what's cool, they really do. And the way that I factor pitching form for a pitcher is focus on the last 3 starts. You never do year-to-date in anything. You'll get burned that way. So what you want to focus on is last 3 starts for a starting pitcher, and you can also do that for a bullpen as well. So you scroll down here, look, bullpen total. It gives you the total, and it also gives you the last 3, like how they're. This stat right here is WHIP, walks, hits divided by innings pitched. Last 3, they're 1.34. Available bullpen, which is cool, which means the pitchers that are available to pitch is 1.04. So that's a pretty good bullpen for what team were we? Boston. And we scroll down here for Detroit, and this is a very good point here. And you'll see a huge difference. You can see here last three for Detroit bullpen, 2.21. That's a very, very, very poor whip. Available bullpen is 1.92. So situationally, we would give Boston an edge here. Whoops, I'm sorry. Minnesota, my bad. We would give Minnesota an edge via the bullpen here. But considering we'd have to lay a lot of juice to play Minnesota, this probably more than likely would be a pass for me as well. All right, move along. Arizona and the Mets. Arizona, a better hitting team at a 56. Jake DeGrom's on the mound. He's going to be extremely overvalued. Not saying he's a bad pitcher. He's having a heck of a season. Really good stuff. And the way this baseball has changed, I want to mention this as well, is the ball spins more. So if it spins more, it's more difficult to hit home runs, and it's going to give the pitchers a huge advantage. So I've said this before, if a pitcher can locate his pitches, and he has good stuff that day, he's going to be very difficult to beat, very difficult to hit. So we have overall, again, Mets with a slight advantage, minus 108. Arizona, a little bit better. I mean, just under even at plus 104. You can look at the line here, and I would say the majority are, oh, wow, Arizona get 94% of the tickets. Jake DeGrom and the Mets getting 6%. I'm at sportsbookreview.com if you don't know where that is. And you look at the Pinnacle lineup, yeah, he's way overvalued today. Minus 300, that's crazy money. Arizona plus 265. So, yeah, value-wise, definitely consider Arizona here. And if you're new, I'll give you an idea. You say, well, why is that line so high? It's not that the sports book sets the line based on perception, how the general public views that team, that pitcher, and they set that line in order to balance the action. They could have set that line at minus 150. They could probably set it at minus 375. They would still get a ton of action on the Mets. The reason the line is where it's at is this number right here, plus 265. They know that if they make this Arizona line attractive, despite the success DeGrom has had this year, that they will get some action on Arizona to help balance out everybody that will wager on the Mets. So you look at matchup here, and we'll scroll down. I'll show you a neat little trick. This is from the old school days. Click on starters here, and Jake DeGrom. So one thing that's interesting too to look, you see here where it says Jake DeGrom games 3. This is his last 3. So innings pitched in the last 3 is 21 innings. You divide that by 3. So he's going to average, we can assume he's going to pitch 7 innings today. And you can see there his whip of 0.48, ERA 0.43, just not hitting him. So we're going to have 8, 9. We're going to have 2 innings that's going to come from the bullpen. So let's take a look at the Mets bullpen to get a little bit better perspective of how this game might play out. And yeah, the interesting, last 3, 1.37. That's below average as far as whip goes. And you look at available bullpen, 210. So that definitely might make it worth it to try to hit a huge dog here with Arizona. And let's take a look at Arizona's. Arizona's pitcher Smith, not good. Let's take a look at their bullpen. Yeah, Arizona bullpen. Yeah, not much better here at all. Last 3, a 2.02 whip. Available bullpen, 1.38. But again, considering what you're getting here as far as line movement, as far as actual value, that might be a play. It looks like there's a lot of people that are going to lean in that direction. So if that's the case, if this doesn't level out, more than likely would be a pass for me. Okay, let's move on down to Cincinnati and Cleveland. We have, basically this is going to end up 2 dog teams, 125 for Cincinnati, 133 for Cleveland. Let's take a look at what the line's doing. Oh, I got postponed. Okay, so they're not going to play. So let's skip that one. Let's go to Milwaukee, Miami. Miami comes in slight favorite via my power rankings. Milwaukee is the dog at 125. What do we have here? Line movement. And Miami is the favorite. Line movement favors Miami here with a tick up from 127 to 136. Again, more than likely, probably would be a no play for me just based on that. Yeah, tickets are split pretty even. Yeah, that kind of coincides with my power rankings. Very difficult to distinguish who has an advantage in that game, so that would probably be a pass for me as well. Toronto hitting the ball really, really well. Houston also, my line is minus 156 for Toronto. Looks like they're going to have a pitcher making his debut for the season. Greinke not pitching well at all for Houston, so that gives us a nice 156 line for Toronto. And Toronto's going to be the underdog here, so this is definitely a play we would probably consider line movement wise. Yeah, people are already on this, favoring Toronto. Line open at plus 142 down to 134. Let's take a look at the bullpens here. Okay, bullpen. Miami's bullpen, 1.27 last three. That's pretty good. Available bullpen, 1.14 whip. That's really good. Houston's bullpen. I got rocked here in the last three, but available bullpen's a 1.14, so that's probably neutral, maybe a slight advantage for Miami here. So this would did I say Miami? I meant to say Toronto. I think I got confused. Yeah, Toronto. So that's definitely a serious lean on Toronto in this game here. So that more than likely, consider that value, that would probably end up being a play for sure. White Sox and Kansas City. Via my power rankings, these teams are basically even, 122, 127. Let's take a look at the line. Yep, White Sox are going to be the favorites here. Yeah, and this line's moved heavily against them. Minus 153 open. Now it's at 139. KC 141 down to 128. That favors KC. So that would, maybe be a lean on KC, but then kind of goes against how I handicap baseball. You want to make sure you play a team that can hit the ball. So if they're down in a game, they have the ability to come from behind. And which is what you saw in that Texas game last night that we had. Colorado, St. Louis. St. Louis, a little bit of edge here. These teams are pretty much even hitting-wise. St. Louis has the advantage pitching, which is why our line shows St. Louis minus 113, Colorado plus 117. Let's take a look at the line here. Yeah, it looks like, people all over St. Louis here. Minus 138. Line has jumped to minus 154. The line movement favors St. Louis in this one. Let's take a look at these bullpens here, see what we got in this one. You can see their form. St. Louis, really good form. Won 8 of their last 10. I do consider that as well. Bullpen for Colorado, it'll probably be bad, just unfortunately because their home games are played in Colorado. 1.71 last 3. Available bullpen 1.76, and you look at St. Louis, so they're getting rocked too. 1.35 available bullpen 1.82. Let's go back and see what our line is. So that 141, not a lot of value. A little bit of value there for Colorado, but not enough to probably justify a play. So that would more than likely be a pass for me. Pittsburgh, Chicago Cubs. These teams have gone at it hard here. Chicago was really hot hitting the ball. They've cooled off a lot. Pittsburgh struggling to hit the ball all season. Anderson's on the mound for Pittsburgh, gives them a definite advantage. Hendricks underperforming right now, so that leaves, via my power rankings, both these teams at a dog. Actually favors Pittsburgh in this one a little bit. See what the line looks like. I know Cubs will be favored pretty heavily, and they are. Public's already all over Pittsburgh here at plus 141. Chicago Cubs minus 153. Yep, line has moved heavily in favor of Pittsburgh down to 141. So line movement-wise, it favors Pittsburgh. Let's take a look at what this bullpen's going to end up like today. Bullpen, yeah, 1.2, pretty good, and available bullpen 1.03. For Chicago, we've got 1.52 and 1.46. Yeah, that game we had, they've really struggled closing games out, and that's a really poor. So it would be difficult to consider with the Cubs. You have Hendricks struggling, and then the bullpen struggling. So this play definitely this game favors Pittsburgh a lot. And I know what you're saying. I've always talked about being an advocate of not playing public teams. However, you have to also consider what's happening with the line movement. Granted, if you would have played it earlier at plus 165 or close to that, you would have gotten a lot more value than you would have gotten at 141. But the line is actually moving in the direction that favors Pittsburgh in this one. Okay, and then let's see what we got here. Seattle, Texas. Texas better hitting team. Seattle struggling to hit and pitch here. We have Texas 100, Seattle plus 135. I'm assuming Texas will be favored a little bit. Yep, and they are 136, 125. Line movement already favoring Texas here. Let's see, what was our line here? Seattle 135. Yeah, this would probably more than likely be a pass for me. Just not a lot of value there. Just wouldn't want to lay juice on Texas like that. Okay, so let's skip to the next one. We've got San Diego and San Francisco. I don't think San Diego's announced a starter. Already San Francisco hitting the ball. The 62 is the highest hitting ranking for me in my power rankings. So they got good hitting. Got a really good pitcher on the mound today. Let's see what this line is. Yep, San Fran. Oh, yeah, they haven't even popped out the line. San Diego's undecided. And in the books, the reason they do this, they don't want to get burned. They don't want to put out a bad line and get burned. So smart on their part. But depending on where that line is, I mean, I doubt it's going to, well, it's all going to depend on what San Diego has. But, if it's in the neighborhood of, say, 120 to 130, 135, you're definitely getting some value in favor of San Francisco. Next one, Tampa Bay and Oakland. Both these teams are dog for my power rankings. Let's see. Oakland's going to be a small favorite here. A little bit of line movement in favor of Oakland. Again, considering the teams are so close. Oakland won that one last night. Still would more than likely be a pass. All right, Dodgers, LA Angels here. Got Dodgers hitting the ball well. Angels as well. We have line favoring Dodgers here at minus 120. Trevor Bauer on the mound for Dodgers. Quintana on the mound for Angels has gotten rocked here lately. And let's see where the line. We know Dodgers obviously going to be heavy favorites here, so probably not going to find any value. Yep, 178. It's a tick up to 170, 184. So, yeah, just not a lot of value there in playing the Dodgers. I mean, maybe make a case for Angels, but when you have you got a bad pitcher right here going against a really good hitting team, that could get ugly in a hurry. And I think that was the case. I think Dodgers won big last night, right? All right, Philadelphia and my Bravos going at it. We have Atlanta, small favorite here. Atlanta going with their ace. So we have both these teams. Atlanta hitting sort of average here lately. Philadelphia struggling to make contact. We have Atlanta minus 117. Actual line here favors the Bravos here, getting plus 102. You can see line open at 102. It's a tick up to 102. Let's see what we had early line movement. Yeah, not a lot there. Looks like it made it up to plus 109. Now it's moved back down to 102. So that actually favors Atlanta a little bit there. Let's take a look at these bullpen here for the Braves. Whoops. Seems like the Braves have been hit or miss here lately. Okay, bullpen for Philadelphia. Yeah, 1.55. Available bullpen, 1.75 whip. That is not good at all. That definitely favors the Braves here. And Braves, again, not much better here, struggling in that department as well. 1.41 last three. Available bullpen, a 3, which is probably why that line is the way it is. I would still say, you know, considering Braves with their ace pitching really well, you know, that line definitely, and you're getting a little bit of value, so that line would, you know, favor Atlanta. I would definitely lean towards Atlanta in this one as well. So anyway, so hopefully this helped you with your handicapping today. If you want to get access to this model, you can get access to it every single day in addition to NBA and NHL through the regular season, $29.95 per month. There's a link in the description box. Create your lines, which means you're going to get access to my lines compared to the sportsbook lines, see if there's value. Also have a ton of handicapping videos, how to handicap Major League Baseball. I think we have 3 or 4 videos out on that now that are not available on YouTube. And I usually upload premium content once a week to the website. And if you are a client, you get unlimited email support from me. So you can send me questions about your handicapping, etc. And if you want access to that, in addition to all my plays for Major League Baseball, that's $49.95 per month. If you pay an entire year, that'd be $600. There's a link in the description box if you want to join for an entire year. That is the best value. That's 50% off. So you get access to everything on the site, power rankings for all sports, football, soccer, basketball, college basketball, in addition to all my plays for $2.99 for an entire year. That is the best value. Anyway, hopefully this video helps, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.